You don't think you're ready?
You can start answering now.
Well, that doesn't really help me, but okay. Welcome everyone. Today we're playing Pokemon Snap. You will be watching from obviously just one of our points of view because it's a single player game, so it's just from my point of view. Maze and Rose is going to tell us a story or some fun facts today, or what's today's conversation topic?
Bees.
Bees? Just all and everything about bees, or what about bees?
Bees. It's about bees. We're talking about bees.
So it looks like there's been a big update to Pokemon Snap, and I kind of flipped through all those screens at the beginning because they didn't seem very interesting to read. They didn't show anything. We got a couple new items, which looked like they were like photo filters to make our pictures prettier, and some stickers. And then it looks like they've added some different places. So this one, the Illumium spot, Illumia spot. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Illumina spot. It sounds like aluminum foil. I think we'll try that one out, I guess. Hello. Welcome. Yes, bees. So hopefully it will be an interesting conversation. So I'm gonna kind of just play and comment when necessary. I'm probably not gonna read all the different things. One, because I'll probably get them wrong, and two, because that seems like it'd be boring. But let's get started.
I'm sorry if you can hear Edmund in the back.
What is Edmund doing?
Hear Edmund in the background. He is singing the song with his people. He's got lots to say. The majority of it has to be said very loudly. Anyway, bees. I enjoy bees. I'm a big bee fan.
Ooh, we're
I
meeting
like bees a lot. Our mom's horrendously allergic to bees, so I haven't been able to be around bees as much as desired. But I really deeply enjoy bees. Are you going to talk at all, or am I supposed to sit here and talk about bees?
I was waiting for you to be done with the statement about bees, and I'm trying to get a picture of this Pokemon and remember how to play because it has been a couple weeks. And this beautiful Meganium, which I think is cute. It looks like a long neck from like Land Before Time, which is a TV show about dinosaurs for kids, that stuck its head through a flower. I really appreciate that. That it's just, it got stuck on there and then it decided it was a fashion choice. Or at least that's how I feel about it.
There's a lot of bee myths.
But I don't remember at all any of the buttons to play. And I know that's my fault, and I'm sorry.
Anyway, let's start with the first bee myth that started this all. Okay, if you have Instagram, which maybe you don't, maybe you spend your time doing more productive things than looking at Instagram, and I support that. But I don't. Do you have to do that right now?
What is he expressing? What songs is he singing you?
Squeaking the Toy is currently the one. So, what was I saying? Oh yes, bee myths. I read this thing that someone had posted, and it might have been a joke. It's one of those, do you ever, if you look at Instagram, sometimes there's reposts of just Tumblr threads. I don't know why. I don't do them. I don't look for them. They just show up. And because I enjoy bees, Instagram likes to suggest me things about bees. So is this Tumblr post that I'm not quite sure if it was a joke or not about that someone thought bees were ground up to make honey. Bees are not ground up to make honey, in case you were concerned. In fact, to harvest honey, no bees are killed most of the time. Like, the intention is to kill not a single bee.
As opposed to
honey is not ground up bees. There is no bee grinders. Bees produce honey on their own. Bees eat honey. And we are also not stealing the bees' labor because certain bees, really, Edmund appreciates this, because certain bees, if their honey isn't harvested, or if they don't use enough of it, for example, like their hive gets smaller than they expect, or they make too much or something, it will make the hive like the hive will die because the queen won't be able to produce any eggs.
I did not know that. I guess it's kind of like the sheep shearing thing.
Yes.
I don't know why, just a side note, he thinks these photos are great, but he refuses to look at any of the other photos I've taken. But these ones are great. Thank you so much for following. Oh, thank you. Welcome. But like that one's a good one. It's worth looking at. Just the behind a tree view. I think he needs to work on his photo editing skills.
He probably does, but that's okay.
But at least we've now seen the glowing Pokemon. I think it's cute that they chose Meganium. I think he's adorable.
He is a good Pokemon. Anyway, back to bees. How do you feel about the fact that people might believe that bees are ground up to make honey?
I always thought it was a bit odd and something that I don't understand. Because it seemed rather obvious, like, I feel like there was like a Magic School Bus episode about it that like covered all this. That it wasn't like up for debate, but I guess it's kind of like the I don't remember, like the birds aren't real thing and stuff.
Maybe the birds aren't real is a conspiracy theory.
What I'm saying is maybe it was started as a conspiracy. Maybe it was started as a conspiracy theory, and people actually started to believe it or something like that. Because that's what the bee thing kind of seems like. You could be like, yeah, they grind up bees to make honey. Didn't you know that? And then people were like, oh yeah, I guess they actually do that, and believed it. That's my guess. Can we get another gift?
Oh. Bees are not ground up to make honey. Another thing I must address. First of all, I haven't watched the whole Bee movie entirely through because it really got to me. The Bee movie got to me, okay? I started watching it and then I kind of had to go, why is this a real movie? Who produced this? And it was someone I knew. Like, not personally, but like I recognized the name. And that hurt me. But anyway, bees do not violate aerodynamic theory.
Okay.
Important fact you need to know. Bees do not violate aerodynamic theory.
Let's return to camp. I don't think we need to save any of those photos. That was less impressive. I honestly.
Think of our lovely photo.
What?
What did he think of our photo?
He thought it was okay. He always thinks they're okay. I don't understand what he wants. I think I could get a perfect shot and he would still just be like, it's okay.
Aerodynamic theory. So at the beginning of the Bee movie, it says that bees shouldn't be able to fly because their wings are too small to get their fat little bods off the ground. That's not true. And the thing it comes from is this guy, this got really complicated and I read way too much into it. But it comes from this guy who says that he did his calculation about still flight, so things that don't move their wings when they're flying.
Should I be reading all of this, Rose? Should I be reading all of this to you guys?
No.
Okay. So in still, I don't understand. They can't fly. I didn't know that was even a part of the movie.
He had this calculation and he applied it to bees and it didn't work for bees. So that just means that bees don't fly like that. But bees do not violate the laws of physics.
Was that a big debate that people thought they did?
Small wings and big bodies, yes. No, but I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that the Bee movie hadn't slandered my children.
Your children. It's strange because you don't know if you're allergic to them, but we always assumed we were.
Wow. I was talking to our mom last night, who is horrendously allergic to bees. And she said apparently it's kind of like, you know, if you're allergic to kiwi, you're probably allergic to strawberry. If you're allergic to jellyfish, you're probably allergic to bees. And we are not allergic to jellyfish. And also, I've decided if the way I die is via bee sting, the bee was probably correct.
I'm confused. How do you know that we're not allergic to jellyfish? Because we've been stung by jellyfish and
it had an allergic reaction.
It hurt a lot? Does that not count as an allergic?
Okay, if you got stung by a bee, it would hurt, but it's not like you did not have an allergic reaction.
It felt like an allergic reaction. It felt very unpleasant. Sometimes if you go swimming, I don't know if any of you guys have gone swimming where there is jellyfish, but did you know that their tentacles will break off of the jellyfish? And you'd think, oh, well then they probably don't have whatever the zappy stuff in them that hurts you anymore because they're, you know, the tentacle's dead. No, not true. They still have whatever the thing is, you know, whether it's a chemical or, I don't know, to sting you. And so they will just, those tentacles will just float along loose in the water. And whereas a jellyfish, you might be able to see and go, oh, I should move away from there. You can't see the little tentacles floating along in the water. So they'll just brush up against you or wrap themselves around your leg.
For scientists, you sure can be vague sometimes, Professor. I appreciate that. Sorry, this man is too vague for me.
Well, he also, she was talking and he's like, let's pick that up another night. Every conversation we have of any importance with him, he goes, let's talk about it later. I don't want to talk about it now. I'm sending children into the woods to research my Pokemon and I don't want to discuss it.
A bee or a jellyfish almost stunned you. But yeah, it was frightening. But I relate to jellyfish. In fact, they have no brains. Jellyfish.
Oh, he gave me a team badge. Now I'm an official member.
I don't remember. Like, I remember it being bothersome, but she acts like it was deathly.
It wasn't deathly. It was very, very upsetting, and it wasn't like a sting. Like, okay, let's say you stub your toe, it hurts for like 5 minutes, and then you move on. It would hurt for like hours because it had like, and leave these red marks that look like you'd been beaten on your legs.
They just jellyfish behind me.
Oh, that would be frightening. But it would hurt for a long time. You could put this like lotion or cream on them, but it didn't help that much, and it burned like it felt like you'd gotten like a horrible sunburn, but only in like, I don't know, like lines on your leg.
Allergies are scary, but as long as you know what you're allergic to, it really isn't like hard. Most things are not hard to avoid. I think food allergies are harder, but like I think if you're allergic to bees, you tend to be okay.
Some people don't know what they're allergic to. They just know they're allergic.
We're calling out a specific friend.
We have a friend who's very allergic to an additive in like cologne or perfume or something. Like had to go to the hospital, get Benadryl shots, that kind of stuff. Like pretty severe. Not deadly, but like enough to go to the hospital so you think it'd be, worth remembering. But not aware of what the thing is that set it off. Like what the perfume or cologne was or what it was in it or any of that.
It's very upsetting to us because we've always been very aware of what we're allergic to, or tried to be. But anyway, moving back to bees. Let's go back to bee myths. Do you believe that all bees sting?
No, I thought like bumblebees, like don't they bite? I thought they did something else.
Bumblebees do bite, but male bees actually cannot sting. And that is because the stinger is actually a modified egg-laying device, which is wild. But even with that, the females of many bee species also cannot sting. So not all bees sting. There's like a whole bunch of bee species. I have the number written down somewhere. We have a bee myth section, a fun bee fact section, and then I'm going to talk about agave if we have time, because that's how my life works. I have a lot of passion for bees, if you guys didn't notice. However, let's talk about another myth related to stinging. Honeybees can sting their victim repeatedly. So here's the thing. Honeybees can sting other insects repeatedly. But honeybee stingers have these little barbs on them. And if the barbs get caught in your skin or something, so like the thick skin of a human, and it pulls off their stinger, that's when they die. So they can sting things repeatedly, but not you.
That's good to know.
For when you go and shake a honeybee nest. Maybe not a good idea. Don't do that.
I'm working on feeding my Pikachu. Apparently Pikachus eat apples.
That's strange.
Some Pokemon might not be interested in the apples, though. I think they called them something else, but they look like apples to me.
Our next myth is wasps or bees. It's sad that the bees die. It is, but bees will not. We're gonna get to this. Bees will not attack unless they're actually
provoked.
Yeah, unless they're actually provoked. So as long as you don't go provoking bees, they really won't die. They'll die eventually. They're not long-lived creatures, but they won't you won't unless they're dead. Our next myth is wasps or bees. Wasps are not bees.
Wasps don't look like bees. Why would they think that they are bees?
They are not bees because, first of all, did you know bees are vegetarians? And I'm going to tell you a terrifying fact now. Did you know wasps are carnivores?
What do you mean wasps are carnivores? I mean, I know that like there was at the beginning of 2020, there was all this stuff about like killer wasp, right? And I was like, what the heck is that? That sounds frightening. That could be another thing to add to my list of growing fears. So I looked it up to see if I needed to add it to my list of growing fears. Turns out I didn't because they were less likely to kill me and they weren't where we were at. But apparently they like climb into like bee nest and just like kill everything in there. Like they kill all the bees, and I guess they eat some. But whereas some animals, like only kill what they need at the moment, like they're only gonna like wolves, they only hunt for like what they're gonna eat right then. The killer wasps apparently just murder everything and then only eat little bits of it and leave it, which is very
So
wasteful.
the way this works is adult wasps are omnivores. Still will eat meat. However, wasp larvae only eat meat.
What
And
kind of
some
meat?
wasps are cannibalistic. Wasps are terrifying, okay?
Yes, there's a reason no one's taken up Save the Wasps.
Because they frighten all of us. Some wasps have been observed eating their own adult siblings. Yes, merciless. Wasps are scary. However, bees are vegetarians. So there's obviously some differences going on there.
Let's go on another day path.
Now we're going to get to some of the ways you can apparently avoid bee stings. You can stop this. I know you're upset that I'm talking about bees because I love them so much. I'm terrified Edmund's going to eat a bee and die. I don't think he'll die.
I don't think he'd die. I think he would just be unhappy with the way that was probably going to feel in his mouth, because probably it would sting his mouth. And then I bet his mouth would swell some. And that would be upsetty spaghetti for him. And then he'd have to tell you all about it.
But it says you can, some people apparently say you can avoid bee stings by spraying the nest with water, and that's actually a good way to anger bees.
To spray their nest with water?
Angry? Spray their nest with water. You get a horde of angry bees. Bad plan. Do not spray bee nests with water. Does not affect the nest. Nests are made of beeswax. Beeswax is waterproof.
None of the people are interested in my apples that I keep throwing at them.
How many apples do you have?
I don't know. They didn't tell me that there was a limit, but I also wasn't reading all of the stuff. So that could have been, there could be that, but I have a feeling there's not a limit to it.
That Bidoof seems interested.
Where? He just ran right past it. I forgot you're delayed for me. He just ran right past it.
Imagine a horde of bees swarm at you. Yes, it would be somewhat terrifying. That's why you do not spray bee nests with water, and you can avoid that fate. Next myth, all bees produce honey. No. Less than 5% of bee species make honey, which is not a lot of bee species, let me tell you, with how many bee species there are. And only honeybees and stingless bees, yes, there's a kind of bee called a stingless bee, make honey worth harvesting. So some bee species make honey that we don't even care about, like bumblebees, my favorite type of bee because I love the word bumblebee, make only about 1 or 2 teaspoons of honey.
1 or 2 teaspoons? That's not a lot.
Like, per year. What?
I said that's not a lot.
No. So, really, if you're thinking about honey, it's honeybees and stingless bees that make honey you care about.
I'm just littering this land with apples, and no one seems interested. The only one that seemed interested was the Wurmple. Oh, wait. The monkey. The monkey is very... Wait, come back! What about you? Pichu? No? Okay.
I like these stingless bees. Yes, they are friendly. Most bees are friendly if they are not provoked. Bees do not intend to hurt you. Bees are pacifists.
They're pacifists?
However, bees are not hard workers. Like busy like a bee. Bees are busy, but they are not hard workers. Also, they really only are hard workers if they're female. That just really, the males do nothing.
I think there's a magic cart that's stuck. He's not interested in my apple either.
He's got bigger concerns. And also, even with that, it's really only true of honey, bumble, and stingless bees, that they're hard workers, the females are hard workers, but I wrote down males are useless, to be honest, which I don't think is the best characterization, but they literally die after they mate with the queen. So, really, they're not doing much. And then I get to talk about some wild bee species and how much they avoid doing work. For example, cuckoo bees, sorry, lay their eggs in the nests of other bees.
That's very lazy.
There's also, speaking of wasps that can eat other things, Socially parasitic bees invade the nests of social bees and kill the queen and replace her, and then use the queen's daughters as slaves to rear their children.
That's highly rude of them.
So look, some bees deeply avoid doing work. Do the flowers not care about it?
No, and I keep throwing apples at the monkey hoping he'll stop.
Wait, parasitic bees. Yes, they're socially parasitic bees. So they're parasites to social bee colonies.
I probably wasted several bags of apples on Pokemon who just do not seem interested. You know, I don't understand why the electric mouse wants to eat the apples, but you'd think the buffalo would definitely want to eat the apple. But no, apparently not.
But yes, there's also the idea that adult bees live a long time. No bee lives very long. Bees live short lives. Worker bees live sometimes like a week to 6 weeks. Which, by the way, in social colonies, all females are called worker bees. Queens can live a little bit longer, so for bumblebees, they can live up to 1 year, and for honeybees, they can live up to 4 years. But that's the longest bees can live. However, a hive can be practically immortal. So the same hive can continue practically forever.
Because it just keeps, replenishing and stuff, yeah?
Yes. Another myth that I don't quite understand is bees won't sting at night. I just put question marks under this one because why was that an idea?
Is it that they can't see you or something like that, maybe?
I don't know. I was confused about this one and the fact that people thought bees don't sting at night. Bees will sting you at night. Please do not go anger the bees in the nighttime.
Thinking that they won't sting you?
More.
Okay, not as good of a photo. I understand. You don't like it. I didn't think it was my best work. They wouldn't look at me.
Another idea is most bees live in hives, and this is where we get to the fact that only 10% of bees are social bees. Just like only 10% of humans are social humans. That's not true. I like to make it wise.
Where are you getting that statistic from, Rose? What did the other bees do? Do they just live on their own? They have their own little apartments?
Are actually solitary bees. And you would be somewhat right, they have their own little apartments. They live in nests tunneled into soil or tree trunks. Or your home. We'll get to that.
But just individual, they have their own little nest.
Yes, we'll get to how they actually reproduce and stuff in our fun fact section.
They really liked my photo of the monkey. Even though if he would have just
playing.
It's because he was playing, probably because he was jumping.
So another idea of how to get rid of bees that is just not right is if you get rid of all dandelions and flowers in your yard, you'll get rid of bees.
Do they know how the outside works?
First of all,
it's not a contained area.
Well, also they're assuming first of all, why do you hate bees that much, man? Second of all, if bees will often build their nests several miles away from the flowers they actually go and harvest. So if a bee decides that your backyard is a good place
for flowers,
yes. If it's a good place for its nest, the bee's gonna build a nest. Why don't you trust the bee's judgment? Why are you angry at the bees? The bee is trying to find a good home for its family, just like you are. Quit judging it.
Well, also, I don't know if you'll get into this, but it's really cool, and we can't show the photo because I don't know how to do that, but it's worth looking up how bees, see the world. They've got, some different things that mirror it, but they, see the world in such different colors and stuff. It's very interesting to look at.
Live in harmony with the bees. Let the bees be in your backyard. I'm a big fan of the, return yards to nature kind of thing, where, you just let things grow in them. I'm a big fan of that.
Guess we'll do a nighttime one now. I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like maybe I've missed a goal or something by not reading all of his talk, but every time he says anything, it's he reminds me of a politician. He's saying stuff, but he's not really saying anything at all. He's trying to keep his secrets of why he's sending children into the forest at night to research Pokemon.
He has to keep them hidden. Another way people say to get rid of bees that's going to end badly is if you seal up the hole in your wall where bees are nesting, it will kill the bees inside. Guess what it won't do? Kill the bees inside. It will just give you angry bees in your walls. angry trapped bees in your walls. And did you know bees have been known to tunnel through drywall and wood?
No,
And
I
then you
didn't
have
know.
bee tunnels in your walls.
I didn't know they could do that. Ah, bunny, come back.
And then you have bees in your walls, which probably is a bigger problem than you had to start with. They're also angry bees. So don't see it. I don't know why you would do that. There's lots of things that I go, I don't think I would ever do that, regardless of what the internet told me.
I think that one's a little bit more believable than some of the others because it's like, oh, if I trap them in there, they'll suffocate and die or something like that. I think this is a Tangrowth, but I think he's asleep. He will not
Yes,
look at me.
bees everywhere. Bees in your walls, bees in your home. You would have such a bad time, okay? It would just be the worst time of your life with all them bees.
That are trapped in your home angrily. Well,
Yes,
the
and then you have
canopy's
to hire a bee professional to get the bees out of your walls.
on back to my TikTok thing, you know, me and the TikToks. On TikTok, there's this lady, I'm sure she's on other
You're
things.
telling me the caterpillars don't want the apple?
They ate the apple, but
Oh,
then I couldn't get a good shot because it was behind some bushes. There's this lady on TikTok that's like, I guess, a professional bee rescuer, question mark, if that's a thing. I don't know. She does that basically. But she comes in where people have got like infestations in like, I don't know, their homes, their cars. I always am wondering how you got an infestation in your car, but sometimes that seems to happen. Um, and she removes the bees and puts them in like a nest and takes them back and I guess maybe at her house or on her farm or something. I don't know.
They sell bees by the pound to beekeepers, so they might be being sold by the pound.
So maybe sells them by the pound. Hello, Pidgey. No, don't take off. He took off. I don't think I can get a good shot of the hoot. Well, maybe. Um. Anyway, she just like scoops them up with her hands. Ah, the gangster Pokemon. I know you don't like me calling them that, but that's what they are.
Well, as we've learned, bees are not aggressive unless threatened.
Yeah, but you'd think having someone stick their hand in there and scoop you up might be considered aggressive.
Not really, no. Unless you were like attacking their nest, really. Anyway, another thing to talk about, another myth. Fatal bee stings are common. They aren't. We're going to talk about bee allergies now. First of all, let me tell you what to do if you get stung by a bee. Unless you're deathly allergic, which you will know. Which is okay. So, people who are just allergic to bees there's about 1 or 2 in 1,000 people who are just allergic to bee stings. Like, it's a problem, but it's not life-threatening. If they got stung by like 47 bees, real big problem. But like 1 bee, they're fine. But it's worse than a regular
Speaking of bees, a comb bee. And they seem to like the apples.
That makes sense.
Have another apple comb bee. Have all the apples so I can take photos of your face.
Comb bees are cute little things. I hate what they evolve into, but I like their little baby forms.
Well, only certain ones evolve into that, only the females. I'm not getting very good photos of them.
But like a life-threatening reaction to a bee sting, it affects roughly 0.05% of the population. So very, very tiny percentage. But if you get stung by a bee and you're not allergic to it, here's what you do. It's very simple. You take the stinger out because it's gotten stuck in your skin. Why did you anger the bees? Quit angering the bees. And then you put an ice pack on it, and then you suffer and think about your actions.
Is that the medically prescribed thing?
No,
suffer and think about your actions?
No, you think why you should think about why did I anger the bees? Anyway, next myth.
Why is this a 2-star photo when you can't even see the Caterpie in it? Again, his grading skills, he needs to work on them. We got more than 2 stars? No.
The next myth is all bees live in complex societies. No.
Society of bees? No.
I don't know how to react to that.
You didn't like that, apparently. Okay. I'll move along.
Some bees live in complex societies. Honeybees and stingless bees live in perennial societies. I just realized that maybe people who aren't really into flowers don't know what perennial is. Perennial means that it will come back year after year. Annual means it dies. So if you're planting something in your yard and it's an annual, it means you'll have to replant it next year. If it's a perennial, it will come back. And then there's like partial perennials and stuff like that, but that's not something y'all need to know right now. But honeybees and stingless bees live in perennial societies with complex divisions of labor. So they have queens and workers as important people. They also have drones, which are domestics, but no one cares about that. You think I'm joking, but really, no one does. No one ever. I have like no information about them. No one cares.
I think it's just that they don't do as much. They're not as interesting.
They die. They mate and they die, and that's it.
Do you talk about the bee dance, or should I take this opportunity to talk about it?
I do talk about the waggle dance, but not in detail.
Oh, okay, I'll wait for you then.
That's in our fun fact section. So workers are often specialized to specific tasks. So some of the tasks could be like looking after the young, and then there's undertaker bees, which is really fun for me.
Undertaker bees, like they push the dead bodies out.
Yes,
that's really interesting.
That idea. Love the idea of a bee driving a bee hearse. Okay, big fan. Defending the nest, you know, typical bee actions. But other bees live in small, simple societies that mainly last in the summer. They're like only summer things, like bumblebees and sweat bees. But as I said, most bees are solitary. So here's the life of a typical solitary bee. So a single female constructs a nest in the soil or in a tree or in your home. Collects enough food for the complete development of a little baby bee. It lays an egg on this pile of food it has made. It repeats the process. And so their social interaction is really limited to mating and laying eggs, and that's it.
That's sad. But it's interesting. I would have thought that they would all live in, like, I thought they all lived in hives together. I didn't know that they lived solitary.
Solitary. Most bee species are solitary bee species.
Yeah, I did not know that at all.
Now we're to the fun facts section. Bees have 5 eyes.
Bees have 5 eyes?
Yes.
I did not know that either.
Bees have 6 legs.
I knew that.
I know. I just wanted to make sure. Like I said, male bees are called drones. Bees can fly up to 20 miles per hour. Which is very fast when you think about the size of a bee.
I feel like this one's a better photo. He doesn't like to score my photos of the fancy flower.
New learning every day. That is what our channel is about.
I don't know if that's what our channel is about. We try to share new facts, but some of the facts are about murder. And how husbands are killed and things like that.
I don't know what dream I had last night, but I woke up in the middle of the night saying, don't speak ill, and my brain just went, don't speak ill of the dead, or the dead will beat you up. And I don't know what was going on in my brain. That's concerning.
You just thought that? You have no clue what the dream was?
I woke up at 3 a.m. and my first thought was, don't speak ill of the dead, or the dead will beat you up.
Do you think that's a problem? Like with the stories we've been telling, we should be concerned about the dead people in them coming to get us?
Speak ill of the dead?
I don't know. Maybe the murderers.
3 a.m. That's the worst. It was just, I have weird dreams, okay? People have dreams that mean things, and then I have these. My dreams are never meaningful. They're always strange and concerning.
Oh, we've got a new person introduced, Todd. I doubt he'll be our romantic interest because Pokemon doesn't do that, but he should be our romantic interest. He looks reliable, and he has his own camera with that looks actually like a camera.
Oh, he's allowed to go out, unlike Rita.
Yeah, he's not tethered here. He works all over the world.
But anyway, bees carry pollen on their hind legs in bee baskets. Little pollen bee baskets.
I didn't know that either.
They've got little baskets on their back legs. I love bees. The average beehive has around 50,000 bees. Pokemon, a game where they let kids go to the forest and volcanoes. Yes, it's very concerning, the dynamics of Pokemon society.
Well, and this little girl, Rita, is trapped. She's like working for the professor, but she doesn't seem to be allowed to go out and take photographs. Only we're allowed to go out and take photographs. So, like, maybe she's being held hostage, but she, like, won't give me a signal that she's being held hostage and we need to rescue her. So it's very
So they seem to
confusing.
be implying that Todd and the professor are the same age, which is weirdly concerning because I thought the professor was like 40.
Well, yeah, and he's this old man who's keeping this young girl here in his house by himself. And her parents have just, sent her here. I guess not caring about what's happening.
I mean, she doesn't seem to mind too much, except for the fact he won't let her go outside to take photos of the Pokemon.
Well, and every time she brings up something worth talking about, he interrupts her like there's some secret being kept. And apparently, nobody else is capturing these wonderful photos of, oh no, question mark is here.
Question mark. He looks angry.
He is, you can tell he's bad because of his spiky hair.
He's here to fight us?
Oh, his name is Phil. There we go. They give him a name. He's a new teammate. He's Todd's #1 student. I guess Todd is not too happy about him saying he's his #1 student.
Todd is much more friendly than Phil. Phil holds great anger. It's in his hair. Anyway, back to bees. It takes, on average, 2 million flowers to make 1 pound of honey. Which, to be fair, isn't much for a beehive to make at a time. That sounds like a lot, but bees are very efficient, okay? On a single trip, a bee will collect like 50 to 100 flowers, and then you think about the fact that an average beehive has 50,000 bees.
An average beehive has 50,000 bees?
Yes.
That's a ton.
Like an average active beehive. I think also wild beehive.
I feel like the ones in captivity might have more, though. Do you not think they have more?
They might. I don't know. It's hard to find information about beekeeping. I will get to that in a second. Anyway, bees. Oh, we're to your favorite part. Bees communicate mainly through pheromones, but they also communicate through dance. And different bee species have different dances. One of them has the waggle dance.
It's really fascinating. There's a lot of research out there about it, but like they didn't realize what it was. But essentially, they communicate by like wiggling their little booties around and telling the other bees where like things are, which I think is really funky.
I read something somewhere, I don't know if this is true, but it was one of the fun facts I read, that bees are the most studied thing after humans. Which, like, might be true. There is an absurd amount of research on bees. Like, I'm not complaining, but there is a lot of research about bees.
I just, on a side note, he's figured out teleportation and is opposed to using it for other things. We're just taking photos of Pokemon.
Listen, Professor Mirror is deeply concerning as a human being. Okay? I have a lot of questions, but Phil might be more concerning. He has aggressive issues.
Well, and his spiky hair makes me feel uncomfortable. It reads angry person. I just feel like spiky hair probably is. There's probably some research out there. You know how they can like analyze character, clothing items, and like tell you what it means about the character. I feel like spiky hair means aggressive personality, but we've got a new area unlocked, which is cool.
Everyone in the Pokemon universe is concerning. I would agree. When I first started playing Pokemon, I went, isn't this dog fighting? And everyone tried to reassure me that it is in fact not.
But because the Pokemon want to do it. Which makes it different.
No. You can say that about dogs too, that dogs want to fight each other. You don't know that. Pokemon aren't aggressive by nature, I'm sure. Or they wouldn't have those lovely things for that lovely little monkey and the lovely Pichu are just having the time of their lives playing together. They would be boxing. They would not be playing.
They would not be playing. It ran away too quickly.
Take a photo of the flying radish.
It ran away too quickly. I don't know what it was. Oh, okay. There's some other monkeys. But they ran away too quickly too. I'm not doing too hot on this jungle exploration. Oh, there's a group of flying radishes. Maybe I can knock one off if I throw an apple.
Approximately 130 agricultural crops in the U.S. But it's estimated that bees contribute to almost 1/3 of the food we consume each day that relies on pollination, mainly by bees. It also, though, people think bees are the only pollinators. Let me tell you some other pollinators that are important. Other insects, as well as birds and bats, are deeply important for our pollination system. That's why birds cannot be part of the bourgeoisie. If so, we need more birds. Could the bees also be part of the bourgeoisie? So we could get more bees. I'm concerned.
But the bourgeoisie is usually, like, not a big group. Like, there's not, What?
Listen, I didn't come up with the meme. I just tell you about them.
I want to know who did and why.
Alliteration.
Alliteration?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Birds are part of the bourgeoisie is an alliterative sentence. It's fun to say. Try it.
Try. But, like, why are they sticking stickers around campuses that say birds aren't real? Oh my goodness, that's a huge snake. Everything else has been relatively normal in size, in my opinion.
That is horrifying.
But you are not normal in size. You are giant. Come back here.
That is horrifying.
Do you like apples? Oh, wait, maybe I can get a glimpse. Okay, Arbok is huge. No wonder Jesse and James choose him to fight with them.
Because he generates fear in their enemies.
He very large. Everything else I thought, okay, yeah, that's about the size I would think they are. But not him. Which is, I guess, I don't know, I don't get it. Are those? No, they're apples, they're not eggs.
Do you know who Titanoboa is? I hate snakes. I have a deep fear of snakes. As I've said in previous things, they have an unreasonable amount of legs, which is none. It's unreasonable.
Oh, that's a good shot. Why can't I slow down? Why won't it allow me to do that?
It hates me, I'm sorry.
What do you want an apple?
Reason, my mom also has a deep fear of snakes. It was probably passed down genetically or something. I think they found things about fears being passed down.
I think it's more environmental with her being afraid of snakes. I'm sorry.
But either way, I do not like them. They are not as bad as eels.
Yeah, Rose definitely does not like the eels.
As I've said before, instead of it being a snake that Satan turned into during Adam and Eve, it was an eel, and he flopped his way over there.
I just hit the sleeping leopard with an apple, and it didn't wake up.
It's fine.
If all the Pokemon were asleep, I'd get great photos.
But what I was saying, so I like their tails. Oh yeah. So we watched for some reason. I watched a lot of Animal Planet as a child. I've watched so many documentaries about Megalodon. Why is there so many documentaries about Megalodon on Animal Planet? But one of the documentaries was called Titanoboa. It was about this ancient snake that was huge, large, very large. And so for some reason, me and my mom decided we had to measure how long this snake was. It was the length of our driveway, which is terrifying. And it was the size of a doorway, which is also horrifying. And that's what I feel like Arbok is. I feel like they're just saying, go catch this. I love that. The evolved Rupert is one of my favorite Pokemon. I think he looks so funny.
Yeah, and he just jumped into the water a second ago. One of them just splashed his way into the waterfall. But they don't seem to be interested
cool in its own way. Yeah, but also, like, it would just follow you. Like, you wouldn't even, like, you would just die. I hate snakes.
I didn't watch this documentary. Was this a real animal, or they thought?
It was supposedly, you know how there was that history period where things were just really large for some reason?
Mm-hmm.
It was during that.
But do they have proof of it? They've got things, like bones and stuff? I
think they've got bones, yes. I don't remember though, because this was around the same time I watched like 4 Megalodon documentaries, so it's hard to tell what's real and what's not anymore on Animal Planet. Anyway, back to bees. I wonder if there was giant bees back then. Bees are the only insects that produce food eaten by man.
I guess because the other insects that people eat, they just eat the insect. That makes sense. So I was like, wait, there's other insects that are eaten. The tree radishes.
Mead, if you didn't know, is fermented honey. Mead, the alcoholic beverage. Is it alcoholic?
Mead is alcoholic, I think.
Yes. Well, it's fermented honey.
I did not know it was fermented honey.
It's the world's oldest fermented beverage. But the term honeymoon originates from the Norse practice of after you got married, you drank a lot of mead during the first month of marriage. They didn't explain why they did this to me.
To keep them from realizing they didn't want to be together. Keep them from regretting their choices.
Honeymoon originates from because mead's fermented honey. And, you know, they counted months differently. Anyway, that's interesting. So, if my honeymoon is not a month of drinking fermented honey, I don't want to have a honeymoon.
Because you drink so much already.
The type of flower determines the honey's flavor.
I knew that because that's why they sell like clover honey and this honey and that honey. I made the mistake of not thinking it affected it that much. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Eucalyptus honey. It was at our local TJ Maxx where you buy all your honey from. And I was like, that might be good. It looks natural and like it would probably be a good honey. And I need some. And it was not good or tasty. It tasted bad. I guess
Well,
eucalyptus is not my flavoring of choice.
Just by the way, do not honey made from the rhododendron flower is poisonous. Like not fatally, but like you won't have a good time.
Do they sell that?
So,
Should that be something should be worried about?
I don't think they sell it. But when you start beekeeping, which I know you're gonna do,
Any
you
day
shouldn't
now.
plant rhododendron flowers. That's just not something you should. Bees love blue and cluster plants. So some of their favorites are lavender and rosemary.
I
and
love
they do
lavender.
not like dark colors. So that's why beekeepers wear white suits.
They don't like what? They don't like what colors?
They like, have strong reactions to the dark colors, was the way it was described.
Oh, so you wear white so they don't care.
Maybe the strong reaction is positive, but I was assuming the strong reaction was negative.
Well, you'd think since a lot of flowers are dark, maybe the strong reaction is they fly towards it and try to get pollen from it.
Who would make honey poisonous? Well, bees don't care, because I don't think it's poisonous to bees. But possibly that is a villain's plan, is to sell so much rhododendron honey that people, like, he can reign over people because people are too busy being sick from honey.
I don't think that's the plan.
It could be. There's over 20,000 different bee species. That's a lot of bees.
A lot.
They're on every continent except for Antarctica. And on every continent, they're mainly peaceful except for certain species of African bees. So if you travel to Africa, you might research their bees.
Don't they have like killer bees, kind of like the killer wasps?
I think so, yes.
I think they're also.
There's not many species of bees that are aggressive at all, but there's like 2 in Africa or something because I don't know. Someone wanted to make Africa suffer, so they gave them all the bad bees.
Again, this is a perfect photo. I captured the essence of the leopard perfectly. But 1 star. What does it take to get a 4-star photo?
Africa, never too many things to keep in mind. That's understandable. There is a lot of things that could kill you in Africa, but there's also a lot of things that could kill you in Australia.
Yeah, but Africa, there's also like the political upheaval and stuff that could happen. It's less people in Australia that could kill you. Although I guess they could if they wanted to, since it was, formed by criminals.
There used to be tigers in China, didn't there? Are they all dead now?
Tigers?
There's some kind of big cat. May have not been tigers. Anyway, they may all be dead now. I don't know. Basically, you can die anywhere. Death is coming at all times. Anyway, moving back to bees. Darker honey is better for you. So the darker the honey, the better it is for you. Because did you know honey's good for you? It's good for you. Eat honey. It actually is like a good thing for you. You should eat honey on like a regular basis. But darker is better for you. It has more antioxidant properties. So I'm going to say this wrong, but here's a fun fact. Honey is the only food that contains the antioxidant pinocimbrine. Pinocimbrine? I don't know. But that's kind of cool. For me. That's a nerdy fact. Moving forward, facts that are not quite as nerdy. Beekeeping is 4,500 years old. Well, at least 4,500 years old. As a profession. It's the second oldest profession, they say. There's cave paintings of beekeeping.
That's cool.
Greek mythology credits Apollo as the first beekeeper. Was he the first beekeeper? Did Apollo exist? All important questions. Actually, probably Apollo didn't exist. I don't know why I'm asking these things. Moving forward. Honeybees don't sleep.
At all, ever?
Never. However, they do spend the night motionless to conserve energy for the next day, which is basically sleeping.
They just stare at the wall instead of falling asleep.
Yes.
That's sad.
Also, bees do not have knees.
Then where did the saying, the bee's knees, come from?
They do have segmented legs, so it might look like they have knees, but they are in fact kneeless.
In fact, needless. I guess we're gonna do this path again and hope that he lets us like level up and keep going in our journey to photograph the Pokemons. This is
Awkward
more
staring from
peaceful than
bees.
trying to catch all the Pokemons.
Awkward staring from 50,000 bees.
Yeah,
There's
just
a
sitting
nightmare
there.
for someone.
Why don't they sleep? That seems like, I don't know, that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Do I look like I created bees?
No, but it just seems like there could have been more efficient ways to handle that situation.
Why is Todd just telling us we can do it?
I don't know. He wants to be encouraging. Oh, okay, come on. I think I got a photo of the monkeys running across.
Honeybees actually aren't born knowing how to make honey. They have to be taught by older bees. So older bees teach that. Also, baby bees. Sad bees have insomnia. But they don't sleep ever.
See, there's this giant
In their
spider
lives.
web, but I don't see a spider.
Do you want to see the spider with how big the spider web is?
No, but I think it might make a photo and maybe he'd finally be happy with me. Maybe he'd finally give me a 4-star rating.
I love that photo of the sloth's back.
No, he'll probably. Well, no, you're right. He'll probably say that's 4-star. Look at that 4-star photo.
Baby bees, when they are hungry, they stick their tongues out at worker bees.
To say, feed me, and you nasty person.
Yes, that's what they do.
I like
find
that.
really
That's cute.
irritating.
You're in my face, butterfly.
Honey is the only foodstuff that contains all necessary nutrients to sustain life. And I read that as I can only eat honey and survive, but I'm pretty sure that is not what it's implying.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite what it's saying. Okay, the Ambipom is like pacing around, like he's got things to think about, like with his arms behind his back.
The Apom's concerned. The Apom is worried
Or
about
Apom.
the state of the world.
That was very strange. Oh, hello. You just keep. You're very playful. The butterflies want to hang out. Aw, and giant snake boy.
Bee venom is used to treat arthritis and high blood pressure.
I don't think I'm gonna picture of the giant snake boy.
Yeah, but it's used to treat arthritis and high blood pressure and other things.
Okay,
Not
well,
just those.
did you find out what it meant by it has all the necessary nutrients for life?
No, because I knew I would be sad.
Because I think it's really cool that it doesn't ever go bad. Like, you can, as long as it's stored properly, like in a, you know, keeping the bugs out of it and all that kind of stuff, it just stays good forever. Like, you can eat it from the ancient Egyptian tombs where it was stored. I think that's really freaky. And, like, maybe something somebody should get on researching. Because, like, I don't know, it just seems like if it could stay good forever, we should be harnessing that technology somehow.
Anyway, moving forward, a hive can produce 60 to 100 pounds of honey a year.
What is this? Look, ancient ruins. Why aren't we in there?
We can taste the old bee honey. They have tasted the old bee honey.
Yeah, I think it's like they ate the stuff from the tomb, which I just want to know who like voted that was okay.
I think archaeologists just like trying things, and if they die, that's how they die. I think that's what they've decided.
Well, didn't like a bunch of scientists? I mean, maybe this is some urban legend or something, but I was pretty sure I remember reading that a bunch of scientists, come over here, Magikarp. No, he won't come over here. Tested like mammoth meat. Like they found a mammoth. Oh, it was getting a drink. He'd probably have liked that photo. They don't respond to the apples. They like found a mammoth in some glacier that they were dethawing. I don't know how they were dethawing it. Probably with large hair dryers. And because the mammoth would you know be bad because it was dethawing.
Look up, eat mammoth meat. Did mammoths taste good?
What?
They said it wasn't very tasty. Someone has eaten mammoth meat. Did a group of scientists eat a mammoth?
Are you Googling this?
Yes.
Is it true? What information can you find for us, Rose?
Mining mammoths.
Another photo of
Pacific spider crabs.
What?
I'm reading about the different things they ate at this lovely dinner.
Well, who cares about the spider crabs? We want to
The
know what
meat
the...
was not available until the last minute when Reverend Bernard Hubbard, who was known as the Glacier Priest, offered access to his own private collection of mammoth meat.
He has a private collection of mammoth meat? Ah, don't run away!
They thought the meat was not from a mammoth, but from the ground sloth.
I'm sorry, they were eating mammoth and that they weren't told that they were eating mammoth?
They thought it was a different extinct animal.
Well, that's sad.
So there was definitely people who believed that they ate mammoth.
But it's not confirmed?
It was actually from a green sea turtle.
It wasn't mammoth meat.
Yes.
Well, how disappointing. Why is this a 3-star photo, but this just 2 stars? Or this. These are great photos.
If you eat frozen mammoth meat, it will be basically freezer burned, so it won't be a good time.
I don't, but still, it might be worth trying. If you were given the opportunity by a respectable, not like some weirdo on the streets, but like somehow, what?
Not the Glacier Priest.
Yeah, no, somehow you're involved in some research, something like you know it's legitimate. Would you try mammoth meat if given the opportunity?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, he did like my photo of my ancient ruins. You will take that? Maybe we can go exploring in there, sir? Maybe we should be doing that.
I don't think it'd be very tasty because I agree it would probably be freezer burned. Woolly mammoths were around at the time the Egyptians built the pyramids.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
The pyramids were built way longer ago than you think they were.
No, I don't. It's not the time thing. It's that I have a really hard time, probably because in history class, I think we do a really bad job in the U.S. of like teaching things in connection with others. It's like we're gonna learn about this thing, and now we're gonna like maybe you learn about like stuff in Europe at this time, and now we're gonna jump somewhere else and learn about stuff that maybe happened at the same time, but we're not gonna tell you it happened at the same time. We're just gonna kind of like have it in there, and we're gonna tell you the dates and expect you to make all those connections. But like I can't keep all the dates in my head.
About the fact that Cleopatra was alive closer to the invention of the iPhone than she was the building of the pyramids.
See, but that's just a date thing. Mine is like, I know these different facts, but like, I can't put them in a timeline.
How old the pyramids actually are.
Say it again.
That, I think, puts in context how old the pyramids actually are. Because you think Cleopatra's ancient, so they're ancient. They were ancient to her.
But I don't know. I think mine's more like I don't know when things in different, like I might know some stuff about European history, but I can't put it in context of American history. Or I might know some things about like dinosaurs, but I can't put it in context. You see what I'm saying? There's this really fun game we play sometimes that our grandfather always wins. Where you have these pictures, I think it may be called Timeline, of these different historical events, and you're supposed to like guess when they happened in relationship to the other historical events that like you've already laid out. And he always wins because he knows all that stuff. But it's really interesting, like I would never have thought certain things happened next to them, and then you like find out that the year is like only 2 years off or something.
Well, there's like a list somewhere of like the last time the guillotine was used in France was the same year that the first Star Wars movie came out.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. You should
There's lots of wild things like that.
Look at this lovely 3-star photo of a magic carp. You know, half of his face in the photo.
I'm not good with years, but I look them up a lot because I know a lot of history, but I don't connect it to anything, including any history that happened before or after. Why is that a 3-star? Listen, we don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand his rating system. Maybe because he doesn't actually go out of the house, he just lets little children go out. He's confused on the rating.
He doesn't actually know what any Pokemon looks like. And why is the other beautiful picture low star? Because he doesn't appreciate art.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but like, aren't photos supposed to be, you know, like artistic? I think sometimes when I get the Pokemon looking from like behind, it's very cute, but he doesn't appreciate that. He doesn't appreciate my artistic choices.
However, he does appreciate the ancient ruins.
Well, but he won't give it a star. He just, you know, ancient ruins. Be nice if I could go explore them.
Back to bees. Bees can be trained to locate landmines.
How?
Their noses.
But how do you, like, how long, do you have how long the average bee lifespan is?
For queens, They may use solitary bees. Solitary bees live a little bit longer. Because worker bees live like 6 weeks. But queens can live, in certain species, can live up to 4 years.
Yes, I think he is secretly stealing our pictures. He's probably submitting them to all kinds of magazines and stuff. I mean, he can't tell all his scientific...
He rates slowly. So he rates,
and takes the other photos?
Yes.
Well, he also, I mean, I don't think he could go and be like, I'm submitting this paper to this scientific journal. Yes, I use child labor to gather all of these photos.
I don't know, child labor seems pretty acceptable in the Pokemon universe.
Well, there's a lot of other things that are questionable about the Pokemon universe. Like Mr. Mime moving in with Ash's mom in the anime. Like, that should be, we should discuss that. What's going on there?
What? Parasite? Isn't he like, no, he's not one of the ones who like steals children's souls.
No, he moves in with her, which is like a little bit odd.
But they don't seem to address that a lot of the Pokemon, they have like steal children's souls. Like, shouldn't there be like more research going into how to prevent stealing children's souls?
You would think.
Shouldn't that be something, instead of researching the Pokemon pictures, should we not be concerned about what the Pokemon are doing?
Apparently not. I gotta remember.
Most of these ones we're taking pictures of are just like birds and stuff. But what about the ones that are demons?
Or like Shuppet, who's like a child's toy who like turned into a demon.
Yes.
There's another one I don't remember. Oh, is it Yamask that used to be human? Is that the one that was human?
Is that not a concern that we have?
Apparently
is
not.
This not a problem we should be addressing? The Pokemon universe seems to focus way more research on things that I do not believe need to be researched. They also seem to only research Pokemon.
Nothing else?
Yes.
Okay, listen, Arbok.
No other sciences, just Pokemon. But back to bees.
I don't think Arbok likes apples.
So you can also train wasps to locate landmines. And wasps would also probably attack things. So it might be more useful in wartime.
Send a herd of wasps to your enemy?
Would be terrifying, that's for sure. Bees' sense of smell is 5 times more powerful than a dog. 50 times, not 5, 50.
But still, don't they not live very long? Like, don't they, I thought they weren't long-lived creatures.
I think you may be able to train, like, how the older bees train the younger bees to make honey. I think if you train them, maybe if you train them to locate landmines, they teach their young. I don't know.
On a fun note about that, I think it was in one of my psychology classes. Did you know that rats can be trained to smell disease in like different blood samples faster than machines can do it?
Mm-hmm. Rats are wonderful.
I thought that was so interesting. So in Africa, where like some of these diseases, it may have been AIDS, but it could have been something else. But where some of these diseases are like very prevalent and they don't have a lot of technology, and maybe that like the hospital only has one machine that can do this, like check this blood samples or something, they can use rats and they can do it like super, super quick and faster and help people find out the results like way faster, which I just think is so funky and odd. Looking for new creatures. And the other one, I swear when I did it like the second time, there were new creatures, and here it's just all the same ones.
Hives produce 5 specific substances. We're gonna go through them. They produce honey. We all know that. They produce beeswax. We also all know that. They also produce propolis, pollen, and royal jelly. Propolis is used to weatherproof the hive.
What's
but it
royal jelly?
We're gonna get there. It can also treat diabetes, cold sores, swelling, and other things. Royal jelly is what they use to nurture queen bees. And there's research going on about what it can do, but there's a lot of claims about the different things it can do to help people.
They're gonna take it from them?
Yes. It's already used in skincare and stuff. Bears do eat honey, but bears prefer bee larvae. Just by the way. Wanted to clear that up. Winnie the Pooh's a liar.
I think Winnie the Pooh probably eats honey. But he's a stuffed bear. What?
Winnie the Pooh's a vegetarian.
Yeah, because he's a stuffed bear.
Bees are being used to study dementia. Because if an older bee takes on a job normally done by a younger bee, its brain stops aging.
So they just want our old people to start, like, making TikToks and then they'll be fine?
I think there's more research going into it than that, but that is the implication I got as well.
If only the old people would start doing the
Bring
things
the
that,
elderly back to high school.
and then they'll be fine. That'd be interesting. I think high school would have been much better if we had had old people in the classes. If we'd had like nice grandmothers and grandpas in the classes with us, I think we would have had a better high school experience. I know I would have. I think that would have been really funky.
So they're being used to study dementia. Bees can recognize human faces.
That's cool. Crows can do that too. I saw this real quick on fun facts since we get distracted a lot. I guess this is a 3-star. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this 3-star. This is a 2-star. This with all these, you know, in their habitat, 1-star. 1-star. Yeah. We need to have a talk with the professor about his rating skills. But on a side note, I saw this very interesting video the other day about crows being trained to pick up cigarette butts at theme parks, and I thought that was just so funky that they were being trained to like do that and they got a reward. I thought that was really cool that they could go around and pick that up. Crows are so smart though. If you don't know about crows, it's worth looking at them.
You know, at the Tower of London, how they have to keep crows so the monarchy doesn't collapse.
I didn't. That's like a myth though, right? Like a suspicion.
So I don't remember who told them, but someone told them they have to keep like a certain, like it's like 5 crows or the monarchy will collapse. So there's a crow keeper, the Tower of London. That is a paid job.
I knew that there was a crow keeper, but I thought it was like based on like, I guess it is based on like some myth someone told them that if they didn't do it, their monarchy would collapse.
Yes, but it's been like hundreds of years and they keep doing it. And apparently every time like one of the crows goes missing, because the crows' wings aren't clipped or anything, they panic. Like they count the crows at night.
Every night. Oh no, what do we do? One of them's missing.
Someone can quickly get another crow. I think they keep an excess of crows.
Just in case some of them go missing?
Yes. Well, because they can technically leave whenever they want. So I guess if all the crows leave, we should be concerned about the English monarchy. Speaking of the English monarchy, bees helped the American Revolution.
How so?
I'm going to read you this lovely thing from this lovely website called beverlybees.com. Crows living in loyalty and luxury, yes. The crows are having a real nice life. Anyway, this is beverlybees.com. This is a quote from her. During the American War of Independence, beekeeper Charity Crabtree, which is a great name, that was me, not her, was tending to her bee skeps, which is what they used back in the day. When she came across a wounded soldier, he pled with her to take his horse and ride to General Washington in the warm of the English Lieutenant General Lord Cornwallis and his army were planning an imminent attack. Just as Charity was about to ride off, the British redcoats arrived. To prevent them from capturing her, Charity beat her bee skeps with a stick, angering the bees, as we know. As the frenzied bees came pouring out of the hive, she threw the stick at her pursuers. The incensed bees followed the stick and attacked the soldiers, stinging them relentlessly. Charity was able to escape and relay the warning in time to foil the attack. George Washington remarked, "Neither you nor your bees should be forgotten when our country is at peace again. It was the cackling geese that saved Rome, but it was the bees that saved America."
That's cool, but I'm sorry. I feel like her and her bees may have been forgotten because I've never heard this before.
But now you know.
But that's really cool.
Yeah. Also, she had a great name. Whoever named her, good job.
Charity?
Charity Crabtree.
The Crabtree, I'm sure, was not a, last names you don't always get to pick. But, I mean, Charity, and there was a bunch of names like that back then that were more popular. I think things would be odd. Like Charity and Chastity and Purity and all that kind of stuff.
Serenity.
Let's go on another night.
Bees Rebellion. Yes, the Bees Rebellion. So I also, listen, it was late at night, and I looked up the term, do bees need to be bee kept?
Do bees need to be bee kept? Okay, and it said...
It was really confusing. It also didn't like my search term because apparently bee kept is not a... It's not a term that is accepted by Google. They don't believe bee kept is a word. It helps them survive longer, and there are a lot of benefits for the bees. Like, they don't have to deal with parasite bees, which I don't know how big of an issue those are for wild bees, but I'm really not entirely sure, but the biggest thing is if you're thinking about getting bees, please do not just go buy a pound of bees.
Do more
Don't,
research.
yes, do more research. Don't just buy a pound of bees.
They
It's
are allowed though in cities. A lot of people think that they probably aren't, but they
There's
are.
one thing I read that like in London in the summer, bees outnumber humans.
Oh, because everyone gets out of the city. Oh, Angela.
No, because there's so many beekeepers.
Oh, I thought it was because in London when it was hot in the summer, they all went to their summer homes. That's what happens in the movies. They all go to their summer homes.
I like that you keep zooming in on the kangaroo's face.
Well, I like it better zoomed in, but I know he's gonna say things like, you know, not in shot. You don't get his whole body in there.
So now you only see his face. And the shot is just his face. Buy a pound of bees to annoy that one neighbor. No. Then the bees will be sad. Do you want sad bees?
I know where we are though. We would never do it because of our mother, but you can keep bees. You're allowed to keep like I think 4 hives, even though we don't live like out in the middle of nowhere. Which I think is very interesting. Ah, look, a herd of Bidoof. Just wandering
so now
in
I will
between.
talk about agave. If you aren't into the natural side of the world.
Where is Psyduck in this? He should be out here with these other ducklings.
He's busy.
Okay, if you're not into the natural stuff.
Yes, so you may not know what agave is, because, like, why would you? But agave syrup, agave nectar, or just agave, it's a sugar substitute that's from refined, filtered sap of the agave plant, which you can buy as a succulent if you want that. It's native to Mexico. It's used to make tequila and other things. But I figured you guys would care the most about tequila. It's a very trendy sugar substitute. Like Starbucks has a whole bunch of things they offer, like agave something. I know Panera has an agave something. But it's specifically among paleo and vegan people, specifically vegan people, because they don't want bee labor.
Wait, that's the reason?
A lot of vegans use sugar substitute and stuff. Well, sugar substitutes because of sugar. But I know some vegans don't eat honey because they don't think the bees have consented to their honey being taken.
But didn't we figure out that if they're honey... What the heck is that? Hold on. Oh, it's a Sylveon. It's a baby Eevee. Or, no, not a baby Eevee, an evolved Eevee. It looks awful sleeping like that. I'm sorry. I got distracted. There was just this pile of pink and white on the ground. Like some Pokemon had been killed. And I was... But I thought we agreed that... Or found out, we agreed. We made a decision, now it's official. I thought it said that some of the bees, if you didn't take their honey, they would die by not having enough room and stuff.
Yeah, if bees don't use all their honey, which, to be fair, I don't know how common it is, but if bees don't use all their honey, then the queen can't lay eggs. But the more important thing, first of all, bees are going to do the labor regardless. Okay? And beekeeping is, first of all, a very relaxing hobby, apparently, but it does help the bees to live longer. Like, the bees can leave at any time. The bees choose to stay in the hives. The bees have free will. No, you haven't thought about that, but the bees have free will.
This is adorable. There's a Scorbunny sleeping on top of the turtle. He's got flowers in his trees as opposed to just the normal trees.
Cute.
This is very cute. And it's
That'll
going to be
a star photo. He'll hate it.
Yeah, because it's a much better photo than all the other photos of Scorbunny I've taken, so he's going to say it's awful. But he'll like that I got a Sylveon, even though it's just a pile of rags.
We might save that photo, though, because that's a really cute photo.
The Scorbunny?
Yeah.
Okay, I can try and save it if I remember
When he
how.
says it's terrible. Once he says it's terrible. So they say it's better for you. Professor might want the Pokemons to fight other than to live in harmony. He probably does.
That may be what he's researching, how to get them angry at each other.
So some people say it has a relatively low glycemic index. However,
you need to explain what glycemic index means.
Okay, so glucose is what your body produces from sugar to fuel your brain and the rest of you, but specifically your brain. mainly because your brain picks up most of your energy. So a glycemic index is how much sugar something produces. I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
What are these little? I don't know what this is.
I will read you the actual definition in case you need more clarification. The number from 0 to 100 assigned to a food with pure glucose. Pure glucose was given a value of 100, which represents the relative life of blood glucose levels after 2 hours of consuming the food. So yeah, low glucose index foods do not raise your glucose level high, like highly. So like eating pure sugar probably has a high glycemic index level. But it supposedly has a relatively low glycemic index, which is something a lot of people want because if, there's people who want to burn fat or protein instead of sugar, dieting is confusing.
Okay, hold on a second, Rose. On this Score Bunny front, so we've got our lovely photo of him resting, sleeping, 1 star. This photo, though, that does not show him at all. 4 stars.
Okay, look at that one.
Why in the heck? That's, I think, the first 4-star photo we've gotten. Why is that a 4-star photo? It shows nothing.
Well, it's like that one though. He'll just have the time.
How am I supposed to become a better photographer if he does this? Yeah, take bad photos, maybe what I'm supposed to do.
I wouldn't say May is the best photographer that they probably have. But every time she gets a Pokemon with its face in there and it's centered like they told us to, and they go, that sucks, we don't want to see it.
Yeah, they don't like the good ones, they just want these side ones, of sort of kind of their ears or something. And that'd be fine if he's like, you know what, we need to research Score Bunny's ears. Go get me some photos within the ears. Then I can do that, but that's not what he wants.
They say make sure your photo is centered and you have the Pokemon facing you.
But whatever. I'll keep pressing on, taking photos.
Anyway, agave plants, they bloom once before they die, which is pretty typical for some succulents.
Don't they look, if for anybody who hasn't seen one, they are a succulent, but from what I remember, I've seen people harvesting them, like, in videos. They look like giant, aloe vera. Like, huge aloe vera. It's very funky. Anyway, keep going. That was my side note on that.
But also what I was saying, so, health advocates, I'm pretty sure this is true. Agave nectar, the way it is processed, is really similar to that of high fructose corn syrup, which isn't great for you. Everyone knows that. Maybe you don't. You should know that. High fructose corn syrup isn't great for you. So it creates a product that's almost entirely fructose with, like, no nutritional value. So it's basically a sugar substitute. Actually, I think sugar has more nutritional value than it does. Honey has way more nutritional value than agave does. And agave tends to be a replacement for honey, not sugar. But honey is much, 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 much better for you. Because honey has, like, antioxidant and stuff, and agave is just literally sugar. But they only bloom once before dying. So normally in the past, when agave farmers were doing anything, so they'd let plants mature to the point that they were flowering like that, because that's the point when there's the most nectar anyway. But since there's a rising demand for agave syrup, and tequila, apparently, but agave syrup especially because it's trendy, farmers are put under huge pressure to make all this agave, but they have this, so they're used to a certain period of time where they get a certain amount of agave, and it was done in, like, small portions. And now they're shortening growing cycles, and they're killing the plants before they bloom. So you think, okay, well, why is that a problem? That's because bats big fans of agave nectar. Probably fruit bats. I don't know. They didn't tell me the kind of bats. So they're cutting off this important food source for bats. And since the plants are no longer flowering, they're not producing seeds, so farmers are relying on clones, which is always bad because then it lessens genetic biodiversity, which means it's really easy for all your agave plants to get a disease and then all die because they're all genetically the same. So they're hurting the bats, they're hurting the agave, but then also there's agave plant bees.
Agave plant bees?
Agave plant thieves.
Oh, fees. Fees, okay.
Yes. There's people who are stealing agave plants. It has caused several crises. The agave plant thieves and other risks that are going on with the agave. That's sad. It is sad. I like to make everyone depressed at the end of our things. Um, so there's like skyrocketing prices with agave and stuff like that. So really small producers are forced out of business because they can't do anything. So like the way that it was normally produced, no one's really doing anymore because they can't keep up with these big agave producers. Um, However, some agave products like mezcal, I don't remember what mezcal is. It is a thing that I know is made of agave, and I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what it is.
I don't know how many facts do you have left, Rose. Do you have a lot of?
Mezcal is another alcoholic beverage.
Do you have a lot of facts left?
No, this is it.
Okay, I was gonna do this one last of the glowy Pokemon, and then that'll probably be it after that. But keep going with your facts, your fun facts. This has been very informative. I figured because I've heard her rant about this a lot. I figured I wouldn't learn as much, but there's a lot of new things I've been learning.
But mezcal is another alcoholic beverage made from agave. Apparently, agave is good for alcoholic beverages. Good to know. Maybe we should grow us an agave plant. But that's still mostly done in a traditional small-scale way. But blue agave, which is what you get most of your agave from, is increasingly being produced on these huge farms with genetically identical crops that use chemical fertilizers and herbicides and pesticides, and it just really isn't worth it. Especially because the way it was being produced before was fine, and agave itself isn't like, it's replacing things, but not replacing them like in a good way. So like, okay, I'm replacing my sugar intake with something that's pretty much just as bad, you know?
I just know it's like, very on trend. I never really, I don't know. I'm very sensitive about like, if I'm gonna get a sugar drink, I'm gonna get one that tastes good, and I don't want it to taste healthy because I'm already wasting like the sugar on it. So I've never like swapped out agave for anything because I assumed it would taste less than sugar.
I've put agave in things, and it's never changed the flavor to me. Like, I didn't know why. I'm pretty sure they probably put it to agave in the title, but it's never tasted different than just like I put sugar in this.
But that's why, like, I've never really looked into it because I don't know. If I'm gonna drink something sugary or eat something sugary, I'm just gonna eat something sugary. And I don't bother swapping things around. There's already like a lot of things I can't eat anyway, so like I just don't bother with that.
So probably if you're trying to replace your sugar, honey's a good idea. Maple syrup is a pretty good idea. Maple syrup has some benefits for you.
Like real maple syrup, not
like, what's a maple syrup brand? Who's the bottle that's shaped like a lady?
Yeah, or any of the there's like ones that say like old fashioned pancake syrup, and that means they're not real maple syrup. They need to like be like from somewhere and be able to tell you where they're from.
Like that pure maple syrup that says it's like I'm from Maine or Canada or whatever. I went on one of my trips to a maple syrup farm where they let you drink maple syrup. Time of my absolute life. Best time I've ever had. Was drinking maple syrup. I love maple syrup. Mrs. Butterworth, yes, that's the lady. She is not real maple syrup. She is tasty, but not real maple syrup. It was really fun. It was 2 hours out of the way, and I thought we got lost 14 times. But then I got to drink maple syrup, and I had the time. We didn't go on this trip, but they infused maple syrup with things, so like vanilla and stuff, and they infused it with coffee, which I didn't try because I hate coffee. So how was that?
It was good. It was interesting. It was hard to do anything with it because like every time you poured it out, coffee beans came out. And I like coffee beans. Most people probably don't like to just eat coffee beans, but I do because I'm weird. But it was like you didn't want coffee beans on your pancakes. So it was like they needed like some kind of like, I don't know, stopper at the end of it to keep things from pouring out of it.
I also know there's another sugar substitute I use that doesn't raise your blood glucose level, but I don't remember what it's called. There's lots of sugar substitutes. But if we're talking about my favorite, it's honey. I also deeply enjoy maple syrup, but I really just like maple syrup. I would drink maple syrup, but I would also drink honey. What's the problem?
I'm sorry if the sound for my mic has gotten weird. Sherlock just pushed his way through the door and then came in and rubbed his body on the couch.
But I deeply enjoy honey. I'm a big honey fan. I stick honey in everything I'm allowed to. I stick maple syrup in everything I'm allowed to. I have a problem.
I know you don't drink coffee, but apparently I haven't tried to do it. But apparently maple syrup in coffee is supposed to be like really good. So I don't know if that's a thing they do in Canada or if it's like a US thing or something, but it's supposed to be really good apparently. If you like coffee, it might be worth trying. If you like
so also,
coffee, I have other fun coffee drinks that might be worth trying because I try a lot of weird stuff.
I try weird teas. I do not try coffee. But I also, whenever I start getting sick, my throat starts hurting first. So if I can keep my throat from hurting, I won't ever feel like I'm sick until I'm really sick, which tends to help when I don't want to be sick. So I drink a lot of tea with honey, so it makes me feel safe.
Honey and lemon helps your throat. But like
I'd into lemon as well.
one of the weirdest coffees that I think is really, really good, and I think people on the surface are like, oh my goodness, that's nasty, is coffee. And I think it's a Swedish thing. I didn't have it in Sweden. I just heard about it. It was at some restaurant. I was like, that sounds interesting. And looked it up.
Lemon. I wanted to eat lemon as a child, and I was not allowed to because our family has a teeth problem. This is interesting. Hold on, say your coffee thing.
It's coffee with like sparkling lemonade. So lemonade with a little bit of carbonation, and then coffee. Not with sweetener, not with anything, just like with the lemonade. And it's super good.
If I liked coffee, I'd probably like it.
But yes, our family has a teeth problem. That makes us sound like we've got problems with our teeth, but that's not what you mean.
I think every family has one doctor that they go to too often. So if you know there's multiple kinds of doctors, I'm sure you all know that, but there's like...
Want to see us live? Come join us on Twitch.
Thanks for watching!